Whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Let's think about this. If that's true, then maybe it's not the market, a crisis, or lack of opportunity holding you back, but your mindset. Strange, isn't it? If everything hinges on the mind, why do so many people remain trapped in debt, fear, and limitations? The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. This is one of the Bible's most famous verses, yet also one of the most misunderstood. Most people repeat it automatically, without grasping the depth of this promise. Have you ever considered what it truly means to live with the unwavering certainty that you will lack nothing? The stark reality is that most people live the exact opposite, in constant fear of scarcity. Fear of running out of money at the end of the month, fear of not being able to pay the bills, fear of job loss, fear of not having enough to provide for their family. How many sleepless nights have you endured wrestling with these anxieties? How many times have you felt suffocated, staring at a stack of bills, believing that life boils down to chasing the next payment? This psalm offers a powerful key. Abundance doesn't begin in your wallet, but in your mind. This is precisely what Napoleon Hill discovered in his youth. He grew up amidst poverty, facing limitations that would have caused many to give up. But it was when he interviewed Andrew Carnegie, one of the wealthiest men of his time, that he understood the difference between those who live abundantly and those trapped in scarcity. Carnegie told him that true wealth first arises as an idea, an inner conviction that you are guided, protected, and provided for. Hill carried this lesson throughout his life. Before acquiring wealth, you must cultivate a mindset of unwavering confidence. However, this confidence isn't something magical or mystical. It's a daily choice. Hill, for instance, experienced times when he genuinely had nothing to eat. There were days when hunger gnawed at him, yet he persevered, writing, believing that the purpose he carried was greater than the hardship he faced. Imagine the pain of watching your own children go without and lacking the resources to provide. This evokes a profound sadness, but it also awakens something powerful. The certainty that if he could move forward, even amidst scarcity, you can too. Most people faced with such a situation see only the lack. But Hill understood that "I shall not want" is an affirmation of faith, not circumstance. It's telling yourself, "I will not allow myself to be enslaved by fear." Because let's be honest, what good is losing entire nights to worry? That worry doesn't pay bills, fill the refrigerator, or bring peace into your home. In fact, it only obscures the clarity needed to find solutions. And science confirms this. Studies show that people under chronic financial stress experience reduced cognitive function, making worse decisions precisely when they need clarity most. In other words, the fear of lacking is the greatest thief of prosperity. Now, consider how this psalm can be applied daily. Imagine you're about to enter a bank to renegotiate a debt. Most arrive anxious, nervous, already defeated. But if beforehand you pause, breathe, and repeat, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want," your demeanor shifts. You enter the conversation calmer, more confident, increasing your chances of securing better terms. It seems simple, but it makes all the difference. Another example. You go to the grocery store and realize you can't buy everything you'd like. The natural tendency is to feel frustrated, complain, and reinforce the idea of scarcity. But if at that moment you repeat this psalm, you remember that your life isn't defined by this fleeting situation. Your mind calms, and you avoid the cycle of complaint that only attracts more despair. This teaching also connects with a powerful practice of Napoleon Hill, visualization. He believed the mind doesn't distinguish between what's real and what's intensely imagined. When you repeat "I shall not want" with conviction, your mind begins to believe it, and you act with greater courage and clarity, opening doors that previously seemed closed. This psalm isn't a promise that there will never be difficulties, but a guarantee that you will never be alone in facing them. Hill experienced this firsthand, and his story proves that abundance doesn't begin with money, but with faith, conviction, and mindset. And perhaps the greatest lesson is this: as long as you believe you will always lack, you always will. But when you decide to believe that you will lack nothing, you will begin to see solutions where you once only saw problems. It is in this transformation of perspective that true prosperity begins. Delight yourself in the Lord, and He will give you the desires of your heart. How many times have you wondered if you're asking too much from life? It's common to believe that desiring prosperity, wealth, or recognition is wrong, as if it were a sign of selfishness or excessive ambition. But this psalm shows us the exact opposite. Desiring is part of our essence, and when this desire aligns with correct values, it's not only legitimate but also fulfilled. The problem is that most people carry a silent guilt for wanting more. We grow up hearing phrases like, "Money doesn't buy happiness," or "Those who desire too much end up losing what they have." And this shapes how we view our own ambitions. In practice, this belief creates an internal conflict. You want to prosper, but at the same time you feel fear or shame in admitting it. Then comes self-sabotage. How many opportunities have you missed because you believed you didn't deserve them? How many dreams have you buried because you thought you were asking for something beyond your reality? Psalm 37 verse 4 is a reminder that there's nothing wrong with desiring as long as the heart is aligned with higher principles. This teaching also appears in modern discoveries about human behavior. Research in positive psychology shows that people who set clear and meaningful goals have higher levels of satisfaction and well-being. It's not just about having, it's about the feeling that your life is moving towards something that truly matters. When desire stems from vanity, it can generate frustration. But when it stems from essence, it generates energy and motivation. Thomas Edison is a powerful example of this. He intensely desired to create a practical form of electric lighting. More than 1,000 failed attempts, sleepless nights, criticism from all sides. Most people would have given up. But Edison had such a legitimate and profound desire that no failure could shake him. With each mistake, he said he simply discovered another way not to make the light bulb. This desire, aligned with purpose, not only transformed his life, but changed the course of human history. Now imagine the opposite scenario. Someone with talent, potential, and opportunity, but who never allows themselves to truly desire. This person settles, conforms, and even if they live an okay life, they never experience the extraordinary. It's as if they're living a diminished version of themselves. And the truth is that many people live like this, perhaps even you. How many times have you caught yourself accepting a situation that doesn't make you happy because you thought asking for more would be too bold? This psalm is precisely meant to break this cycle. It says that when you connect with God, when you find pleasure and confidence in what is eternal, the desires of your heart cease to be mere whims and transform into attainable missions. It is at this point that the impossible begins to become real. There's a simple exercise that can change how you view your desires. Take a piece of paper and write down the strongest desire of your heart today. Don't write what you think is possible. Write what truly burns within you. Then ask yourself, does this desire serve only my ego, or can it also benefit other people? If the answer is that it also generates a positive impact, then it is legitimate and deserves to be nurtured. Repeat Psalm 37 verse 4 daily in the morning and visualize your desire as if it were already real. This creates an internal alignment that will influence your actions and open paths you never imagined. And remember a truth that science confirms. When you have clarity of desire, your brain begins to work in its favor. This is what psychologists call the reticular activating system, a mental filter that makes you see opportunities where you once only saw obstacles. It's like when you think about buying a red car and suddenly start seeing red cars everywhere. Aligned desire works the same way. It trains your mind to recognize the path. This psalm isn't just a spiritual promise, it's also a practical guide. It shows that you shouldn't fear the desires of your heart, but rather purify them, align yourself with them, and believe they are possible. The mistake isn't in desiring, but in giving up too soon or in never allowing yourself to truly desire. Ardent desire, when guided by higher principles, is the force that separates those who merely survive from those who transform their own lives. He will be like a tree planted by the streams of water that yields its fruit in its season. This passage carries one of life's harshest, yet most liberating lessons. Everything has a right time to flourish. But this is precisely where most people fail. We live in an instant gratification society, where if you don't see results within a few weeks, you believe it's not working. How many times have you begun a project with enthusiasm, only to give up halfway because the fruits didn't appear quickly enough? This is the dilemma of thousands. They want a bountiful harvest without accepting the planting process. The psalm reminds us that a tree doesn't bear fruit at any moment. It needs to be rooted in fertile soil, constantly nourished, receiving water and light, weathering storms. Only after this entire process, in due time, does it flourish. The same applies to financial, professional, and spiritual life. How many times have you abandoned something that could have transformed your life simply because you didn't have the patience to wait for the time of fruition? Napoleon Hill knew this truth well. He spent 20 years completing the research that would result in the book Think and Grow Rich. 20 years of interviews, studies, trials, and errors. Imagine the pressure of carrying a project for 2 decades without knowing if it would truly succeed. Most people would have given up in the first or second year, but Hill persevered like a tree that, even without visible fruit, continued to grow its roots. The result is that his book became one of the greatest classics of self-help history, impacting millions of people to this day. Now consider the opposite. There are those who achieve wealth and fame quickly, but lack deep roots. It's like a tree that grows too fast in shallow soil. A storm is all it takes and everything crumbles. The story of Mike Tyson is an example of this. He reached the top of boxing very young, accumulating fortune and recognition. But without discipline, patience, and solid roots, he lost almost everything in a short time. It's proof that quick success without constancy can be as dangerous as failure. This psalm invites us to reflect on the value of constancy. The tree doesn't question time. It simply continues to grow silently, firmly, until the right moment arrives. And you? How many plans have you abandoned because they didn't work out in the time you expected? How many times did you start saving money, but gave up because you hadn't accumulated a large sum in a few months? Lack of patience is a dream killer. Science backs this up. Behavioral psychology studies show that delaying gratification significantly increases long-term success. Think of the famous marshmallow test. Children who waited for a second treat achieved greater academic and professional success years later. This same principle applies to adult life. Those who patiently nurture their endeavors reap more substantial, lasting rewards. Here's a practical exercise. Choose a goal you abandoned because it seemed too time-consuming, saving money, learning a skill, or changing careers. Restart that goal and commit to small, consistent steps for at least 90 days without expecting immediate results. When anxiety strikes, remind yourself, fruits don't appear in a rush, but in their own time. Consider nature's timetable. If nature needs time to bear fruit, why should your life be any different? A seed doesn't question its darkness before sprouting. It trusts the process. Similarly, you often need periods of apparent quiet or even difficulty to build the foundation for your future. In your house, there is abundance and riches, and your righteousness endures forever. This verse is a powerful reminder that wealth and integrity aren't mutually exclusive. Many fear that prosperity equates to corruption, a loss of values, a change for the worse. How often have you avoided financial opportunities, fearing change, or straying from your perceived path? This is a common trap. Believing success inevitably erodes morality. Napoleon Hill knew this was false. Decades of studying successful people showed him that lasting wealth always aligned with strong principles. He witnessed individuals who ethically amassed wealth, positively impacting their lives and communities. But he also saw those who pursued wealth without principles, losing everything. Hill himself faced hardship in the 1930s, enduring significant financial losses and legal battles. This experience taught him that only purposeful, ethical wealth endures. It was a crucible of despair and profound learning, transforming sorrow into clarity and resilience. This verse prompts reflection. Is your money a servant or your master? Many become enslaved by money, prioritizing immediate gains over values, family, and well-being. Studies in economic psychology show that those who view money solely as an end-goal experience more stress, less personal satisfaction, and often make rash decisions that jeopardize their financial stability. Conversely, those who see money as a tool for security, freedom, and positive impact, enjoy higher levels of happiness and emotional balance. To apply this, map your financial decisions and spending habits. Ask yourself, do my choices reflect who I want to be, or merely the pressures of the moment? For example, after a raise or bonus, instead of immediate spending, consider how these resources can enhance your life and the lives of others. Donating, investing in education, and planning for the future align prosperity with justice, making wealth enduring and meaningful. True prosperity isn't just accumulating possessions, it's creating a safe, ethical, and just environment. Hill, after devastating losses, emerged with an even clearer vision. Purposeless wealth is unstable, but principled wealth creates a lasting legacy. Psalm 112 teaches that when abundance is cultivated with righteousness, you don't just gain money. You gain confidence, emotional freedom, and a profound sense of accomplishment. This transforms not just your life, but the lives of those around you, making prosperity a lasting force for good. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. This verse is a call to abandon the illusion of total control through logic and willpower alone. Most people live in constant tension, meticulously planning every detail of their financial and professional lives, forgetting that true power lies in combining action with trust. How often have you exhausted yourself trying to control the uncontrollable, losing sleep over what-ifs? This psalm shows that the balance between strategic action and trust generates lasting prosperity. Napoleon Hill experienced this firsthand while trying to interview Andrew Carnegie. He faced seemingly insurmountable obstacles, powerful people refusing contact, limited resources, and youthful uncertainties. Most would have given up, but Hill acted persistently, trusting the process. This blend of disciplined effort and faith in his vision underlies all great achievements. The emotions involved, fear, frustration, hope, and finally, a quiet confidence emerging after overcoming trials, are complex. The psalm also warns against self-reliance. Believing only our understanding will solve everything is dangerous. It confines us to the familiar. Decision-making studies show that those who combine planning with openness to new information and perspectives succeed more than those relying solely on internal logic. Trust doesn't mean passivity. It means aligning your efforts with broader principles and strategies, allowing unexpected solutions to emerge. Apply this by choosing a financial or personal goal you've unsuccessfully pursued. Break it into daily actions, but before each step, repeat, I trust the process and am open to the results that may arise. Visualize not just the final outcome, but the lessons and connections along the way. This transforms anxiety into clarity, fear into opportunity. Hill also stressed the importance of a mastermind, a network of like-minded individuals supporting each other. Trusting your understanding doesn't mean isolation, but recognizing that collective knowledge and collaboration multiply results. People like Warren Buffett apply this. He trusts his analysis, but surrounds himself with trusted partners who complement his decisions, balancing risk and security. A powerful challenge. For 7 days, choose a financial or professional decision causing anxiety. Apply disciplined effort, but mentally surrender control to the process, repeating the psalm with each step. Notice how tension lessens and new ideas or solutions emerge when you don't force every detail. This psalm teaches that true prosperity arises when balance, action, and trust converge. Hill proved this, transforming obstacles into opportunities and showing that when we stop relying solely on our understanding, we open ourselves to a more abundant, resilient, and purposeful life. True wealth isn't just measured in money, but in how you align your thoughts, desires, and actions with purpose, discipline, and trust. Each verse explored today is a guide to transforming your mindset and building a solid foundation for an abundant and fulfilling life. And if you're ready to go further, the next video on screen will help you ascend another level in your wisdom, enabling you to become 1% better than you are now. Thank you for investing this time in yourself and your transformation. I'll see you in the next video.